Testing.
So you have to talk into it, Lynn. Remember that.
Jane Turner,
Present.
Laura LaRue. Here. Teresa Mosman.
Here.
Jackie Burke.
Here.
Lynn Lukes.
Here.
Sharon Barkema.
Here.
Don Sanders.
Here.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Sherry? Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. All right, let's move on to approve the minutes, financial statement, and list of bills.
I move that we approve the minutes, financial statement, and list of bills.
Don, is there a second?
I'll second.
Laura? Any discussion?
Did you have time to go ahead and check?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I reviewed all the bills this afternoon.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve the minutes, financial statements, and list of bills. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. All right, welcome everybody. I can see we got a large crowd tonight, and I know some of you want to address the board. We're gonna limit you to a time limit because of the number of people here tonight. Kevin will keep time. We're gonna allow you to speak for 4 minutes. At 3 minutes, Kevin will raise his
Like this.
left hand. And at 4 minutes, he'll raise his right hand, and I'll ask you to stop. So, with that said, and also, you cannot have statements, what do I want to say, evaluating employees or anything to that. So, please keep that in mind. I have a request from Pastor Don Peterson. Would you like to go first?
A little over a month ago, this is some of my freshman confirmation class, and a little over a month ago, we were talking about the 8th commandment, which is you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. And the conversation quickly turned to the topic of bullying. And the kids were feeling somewhat helpless about the whole situation and concerned about the bullying that's happening here at school and is probably happening in every school district. And so I empowered them and I said, let's work on this. And so we spent an hour and a half that night, and we spent another hour the next time we got together. And so what we have for you tonight, and I'm going to leave a copy for each of you, is definitions, recommendations that the kids came up with, and how they want things to change. Emma's going to share with you the contents of the document, okay?
We, the freshman confirmation class at Trinity Lutheran Church, are concerned about the seriousness and frequency of bullying in our school and the need for improvement. We all play a role in it, either as one being bullied, the one doing it, or a bystander. We wish to take a stand and to speak out against bullying. Recommendations regarding bullying. Number 1, the definition. Bullying is saying or doing something hurtful on purpose to make that person feel bad about themselves or something they did. Teasing is saying or doing something in a playful way that is understood as not hurtful. Note, teasing can become bullying at any time. The recipient of the bullying or teasing decides which it is. Number 2, teachers. We picked out some designated teachers as someone safe to go to with a bullying concern or incident. Number 3, the designated teacher's role. 1, listen and seek to understand. 2, support. 3, discuss what happened. 4, student and teacher together decide if this is teasing, it is finished. If this is bullying, who to tell? Administration? Parents? And number 5, observe for recurrences. Number 4, suggested consequences for student engaging in bullying. Number 1, meet with the designated teacher. 2, detention with designated teacher. Write the sentence, I will speak well of others and act with kindness. Teacher to determine number of times this is to be written. Number 3, meet with principal, designated teacher. Additional options. Talk with one or both of the school counselors. Number 4, meet with principal, designated teacher, and parents. Number 5, in-school suspension. Student is required to keep up with class assignments, write a paper about what you did, why it was wrong, and what you would do differently. Paper to be handed in to the principal. Number 6, suspension. Note, we do not recommend expulsion because we want to help the student change. Consider a need for involving law enforcement. And number 5, our overall goals. Number 1, acknowledge bullying exists at Belmont Plumbing. Number 2, make it known that bullying is not acceptable. Number 3, attempt to cut down on bullying. Number 4, help victims feel safe at school so they are able to focus on their education. Number 5, help the student who bullies to understand what they are doing is bullying so they don't repeat it or continue doing it. And number 6, create a safe environment for everyone, students and staff, for learning and teaching.
Each one of the kids signed it for you and you can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak this evening? This is your only chance, so if you don't speak now, we'll be moving on. Okay, we're going to move on. Reports, Sarah King.
Is it okay if I go last? Greg,
It's up to you.
I'll go last.
Okay.
You want to go or you want Kim to go first?
You just heard me. I care less either way.
Kim, why don't you come up first?
Okay. I put a few copies of this down on tables for you all to look at. It's my poster for the summer lunch program. We are going to run for about 7 weeks this summer is my plan. Taking the first week off, my staff and I will go to some continuing ed and just get ready to start back up again. On June 8th we start up, and then we'll follow through summer school and having the week of July 4th off, and then end up on August 4th with the ending of summer school. That's about all I had. Just want to look at this, and then I was going to start hanging posters around town and advertising it. If it looks good to everybody. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Greg?
Earlier this week, we canceled the JV portion of the baseball program as lacking numbers because they didn't have that new pitch rule that limits the kids to how many pitches they can have in a certain amount of time. And we're not going to have the athletes available to carry out the JV squad and the varsity squad, even bringing up some of our 8th graders. So we've canceled those games. Unfortunately, we'll try to do our best to make sure that the 8th graders get playing time at the lower level and also at the high school level. They'll probably get some spot time, runners and stuff like that. But we'll have a full complement of games every Monday, Wednesday, Friday through the month of June. It's not ideal, but at least it's plausible. The rest of the kids are going to get a lot of playing time anyway because there's no replacements. Basically 13 kids out, 14 kids out right now at the high school level, so we have a limited number of kids there. As you know, we're getting down to that end of the year. Our seniors actually left our facility today at 4 for most of them. We have the practice tomorrow morning, and then we have graduation on Sunday at 2, and look forward to having that class walk across the stage and get their rewards for all the hard work. I think we're going to miss that group. They've been good leaders for us, and now we're going to start with the juniors, which I'll meet with them tomorrow and kind of start that leadership philosophy with them. and get them going a little bit. The last day of school, we'll have a fun day, work day. We'll have 2 semester test days before that, and our last day, those kids that have taken care of business and done the right stuff, stayed out of trouble, have the grades where they need to be. We'll be able to go down to the park and we'll have some volleyball, swimming, some other stuff like that, frisbee golf and stuff, and have some lunches down there. And the other kids that still have to take care of business will be back working on their classroom stuff, getting all their stuff done. So that we're doing that's kind of a change from past tradition a little bit. But that'll be, I think, a good thing. We're getting out at 12:30. We'll also have an awards assembly in the morning before that starts too. So. Again, we're trying to get our student handbook to you. We'll hopefully we'll have a meeting here in another couple weeks. We'll get that done. We're all done. I just didn't get to you enough. And then Sarah thought it'd be best if I held off with the meeting tonight anyway, being so large, you know. But it's, I mean, we're actually done with it, so we'll get that to you and get that approved. We've changed our 7th and 8th grade electives a little bit to make sure that we abide by the code and make sure we really do a good job there. I had a meeting with our CTE people and those elected people. I think we've come up with a feasible plan of attack on that, and I feel good about what we're trying to do and offer to our kids. So and then have the teachers talk to you about that. I think they'll support that as well, say it's going to be a good thing there. And then we're just looking to the summertime here and trying to see what we can do to make ourselves better next year. So that's where we're at. Any questions? All right.
Thanks, Greg.
From the elementary point of it, probably the biggest change in my building just lately, and those of you who have run into the door know the change, or can't get in the door know the change. And we're working on it, and Corey worked on it yesterday, and it's an education piece more than anything. If you remember our elementary building, you had full access to come into the main office, and then you had to fob out, or we had to push a button for you to get in the hall after you signed in. The problem with that is there were 3 other doors that had access that weren't locked, access directly to the students. So we have moved that lock to the outside door, so you actually have to be buzzed in from the outside. You don't have direct access to the kids unless we let you in. It's a little quirky right now. It sticks a little bit. Darla's exercise plan is getting up and opening the door when it does. She'll kill me for that one. Or if a student might get in trouble, they might have to stand by the door and unlock the door when they need to. That worked real well too. So that's kind of a safety change. One of the things that I've recommended for the future is we have a beautiful building, beautiful facilities, and we do not have an intercom system. Our intercom system comes through the phone, and teachers can't hear it all the time. If you have a kindergarten class at Centers, or if you have a PE class going on, not everyone can hear the warnings or the announcements. So I think that's something in the future that needs to be addressed. Otherwise, we've been testing. We got done with basic skills, went directly into FAST, which is our reading and literacy testing that we go through, and then from there went directly into MAP. And we're just finishing up our MAP. So those are our 3 major summative assessments that our students take. Concerts. The spring concerts are always a lot of fun because they're a little bit less formal, and you can tell the kids just adore them. They have a lot of fun. They're energetic. They get to show off what they've learned, and so that's neat. Track meet today. I know nobody liked being in the rain, and I had numerous texts about it's cold and it's wet, but our rain date is tomorrow, and if you've looked at the weather, we had a better chance of getting it in today than tomorrow. And Mr. Owens, being new, said, well, can't we do it Monday? I'm like, you don't understand. People take off work for this, and we can't just randomly move it to a date we haven't announced. So we did it. The kids had a blast. The rest of us are cold and wet, and I apologize. That's why I look the way that I do. Field trips going on, different kids going different places. anywhere from Music Man Square with the music people to Living History Farms to the Rockford Quarry. So it's kind of a variety of things going on in the spring, to the hospital, to the park, just kind of culminating things at the end of the year. District-wide, we are working on hires and hiring a large number of people. We have two key ones hired right now. We will continue next week with teacher interviews. We will hopefully get the principal interviews in next week. Looking out in the crowd, if you want to be on one of those community committees, let me know. We're always hoping that people can be a part of that process. And then, you know, what changes that do we need to make for next year concerning our curriculum, concerning our alignment, concerning just little things like rooms. Who's going to move to what room and what program's going to be where in the building.
How many teachers are you planning on hiring?
7.
Is that for attrition or
Some of them, 2 are move out of states, and 1 is a transfer to the high school. So it's kind of a combination of things.
So essentially with the 7, there's just 2 replacing resignations, so it's 5 new staff.
I'd have to look at my list. That counts Kelly Johnson, who I've got the recommendation tonight.
Okay, so 3 resignations then, because we've already accepted Hannah's and Aaron.
Hannah, Aaron, and Kelly, and me.
Yep.
And transfer to the high school, and then 2 new positions.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Question?
How are we coming on our search committees as far as the superintendent? Did you have a group meet with you in there about?
Yeah, I had a group meet together because, as you know, their information cannot be public information. And so I met with not a quorum, to cut that down. We have a short list that we are looking at, and we're looking at possibly doing those on the 30th, May 30th.
From your position?
Yes, for the
Oh, my position would be the next week. Which position?
Yeah, which one?
Principal next week, superintendent the 30th.
Thank you. Resignations. Sarah Key, elementary principal. Is there a motion to accept this?
Can we just do them all together?
Okay, first off the resignation, we have Sarah Key, elementary principal. Aaron Bungie.
Talk into your mic.
Bungie, is that how you pronounce it? Aaron Bungie, K-6 vocal music teacher. Nicole Bach, football coach, cheerleading coach. And Coy McLaughlin, assistant football coach. Is there a motion to accept the resignation of these individuals?
I will make that motion.
Sharon?
I will second it.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of accepting the resignations of Sarah Key, Aaron Bungie, Nicole Bungie, and Nicole Bach, and Coy McLaughlin, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Employment. We have Christine Schultz, junior high volleyball coach. Is there a motion to accept this? Laura?
I second.
Any discussion? employment of Christine Schultz, junior high volleyball coach, please say yes.
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 Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Scott Meyer, assistant high school basketball coach.
I move that we accept Scott Myers, assistant high school basketball coach.
Okay,
I'll second that.
Sharon.
Is that girls or boys?
Boys.
Boys.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, is there any more discussion? If not, all those in favor of accepting the employment of Scott Meyer for assistant high school boys basketball coach, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Brittany Miller, junior high softball coach.
I move that we accept Brittany, or employ Brittany Miller as the junior high softball coach.
Okay, thanks, Don. Is there a second?
I will second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
I'm curious why there's not a recommendation on Brittany Miller.
There was one.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Right here. Got one. I didn't get one.
I'm sorry.
Did you get one? I guess they didn't go around.
No, they didn't come around.
Nobody
I
has.
guess I'm only going to be putting out for
I guess
you guys have your.
it wasn't on my iPad either. Thank you.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve the employment of Brittany Miller as junior high softball coach. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no.
No.
Okay, I'm
Roll call.
going to ask for a roll call vote.
Jane Turner,
No.
Laura LaRue,
Yes.
Teresa Mosman,
No.
Jackie Burke,
No.
Lynn Lukes,
Yes.
Sharon Barkema,
No.
Don Sander.
Yes.
Okay. 4-3, motion fails. Employment, Ann Plaguey, Jacobson counselor.
I move that we employ Ann Plaguey as the Jacobson counselor.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion?
Would you like me to give you a little background?
Yes.
That'd be great.
Anne has an extensive background in crisis intervention, and I think she's got PBIS background. She had a lot of the same backgrounds and strengths as Kelly Johnson, and we all know Kelly's Kelly. I think she's going to be a good addition. I was very, very pleased to have that kind of quality person to apply.
Is she from the area?
She's from Hampton.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of appointing Ann Plaguey as our Jacobson counselor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Employment, Lindy Skrovic, elementary secretary.
I'll make that motion that we hire Lindy Scroby.
Sharon,
I'll second.
Lois. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of employing Lindy Skrovic as elementary secretary, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, we have the teacher leadership recommendations. Team leaders, Shannon Wadley, Dina Viniga, Joel Bagley, Nicole Bach, Kim Coolers, Nikki Jass, Angie Kinseth, Kendra Haugen, Manning Walter, and Wanda Torkelson. Is there a motion to approve these?
I'll make the motion.
Teresa?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
If you remember, those are the ones that stay in the classroom but lead a lot of our small group AIW PLC information.
not gonna run through the names again. This is for the TLC teacher leaders. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Collective bargaining report. Who all do we have attend this?
Can I make a recommendation on this or not? I would like to recommend we table this because it's going to take a lot of time. And the people that attended the meeting, we have a lot of work to do on this.
Jane and I attended with the business, and we thought it should be a workshop session for the board because there's a ton of information we need to share.
Thank you.
Need a motion to.
I move that we table the collective bargaining report to a workshop session to be determined later.
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to table the collective bargaining report. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Okay, motion passes. Facility study. Ed, you want to come forward and talk to us one more time?
Sure. Hi, my name is Ed Weininger, and I own an architectural firm, Wagner and Weininger Architects, for 16 years. I sold it 5 years ago, and I managed it. And on March 20th, I believe, at the board meeting, I came before you representing Wagner and Weininger Architects for the facility study. I was designated as the project architect for that job, and I think that to a large degree the job was awarded based upon my qualifications, whether it's experience, credentials, and then references also. Since that time, I've resigned and moved over to Scott and Anderson Architects in Mason City and joined them. It was my hope that I could continue to be your project architect for the facility study. And that's all I have to say really at this point. I can answer any questions you might have. There's no contract was ever signed. It was awarded, no contract was signed, and no services were provided. So nothing's been done. So.
I'm going to honor your price here.
Yeah, it's kind of odd because I think we said it would be either do 10% less than our competitor, and the competitor said 0, so I'm not sure where that leaves us.
So you pay us. You pay us.
That's how it goes. That's not the case.
Does the board members feel we should start that now or wait till we
I
get a
think we
new
should table it,
superintendent?
yes.
Until we get a super hired, is that what you're saying,
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Wondering.
Can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
I think that you ought to at least terminate the understanding you have with the other firm. A letter should be sent from the district to the other firm, Wagner and Weinder, telling them that we are terminating the project for now, and we're putting it in abeyance, and that we will no longer have a need for their services. You can go back and hire them, or hire Ed if you wish, and let him write another letter at a later time saying, we'd like to award that bargain deal at 10% less than 0. But I do think you ought to do it properly in some legal form, just a letter to the Wagner Weininger firm saying that at this point we're putting the project on hold and we do not have any further need for your services, something to that effect, signed by the superintendent and sent. That way you kind of ended that arrangement with them because Ed's not there anymore. Pretty evident. And he's the guy you hired.
And the new person's not here yet. Right. That's going to have to work.
Exactly right. So that's my recommendation. Step one, send a letter, terminate the old agreement, and then you're prepared to do whatever you need to do with it, if you wish. Okay?
I move that we table the facility study until we have hired a superintendent. In regards to that, we need to inform Wagner, thank you, sorry, that we are no longer in agreement with them.
Don't need their services.
Don't need their services. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
And hopefully maybe this fall.
July.
Yeah, there you go. July.
Okay, there's a motion on the table.
Thanks.
On the I'd ask that all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. Motion passes. Technology Committee.
Well, if we'd have known we were going to get to this so quickly, we'd have prepared a really nice PowerPoint, had music with it and everything else. But we thought it was going to be really long, so we just decided to be brief. You can stream it, yeah. I handed out, we were still getting quotes because we got into kind of a battle between Microsoft, the people that for the Windows units and Mac units, which was kind of interesting and kind of fun because I would say, hey, you know, these people are doing this much, can you do better? And they said, yeah. So we got today actually the final quotes for everything. So that's why you didn't get everything in the packet. What I did for this, as instructed by the board, we're bringing you two options. One is a Windows unit and one is the Mac unit, the Apple. If you look, this first one here, this is a Windows unit. And what kind of gives you, just specific to the device only, is we have 4 different options for leasing. One is the fair market value lease and a dollar buyout at a 3-year and a 4-year. Because of the type of unit that this is, it will go to a 4-year. So beyond that, we probably wouldn't want to go beyond 4 years. So we'd probably be concentrating on 4-year dollar buyout. And the reason for that would be at the end of the lease, we could buy the unit for $1, and then it has approximately a $75 value. Now we could flow them down into the elementary if we need to, with a little bit of roughness in them, but they would be for specific things at the elementary. Or we would sell them back to a company that buys those for approximately that amount on it. Attached to this lease is a spreadsheet. And if you would just look at the 4-year lease, one with a dollar buyout, that'll give you the cost per year on that. And then
It's bigger sections coming up. Some of it is adding places that we have cut before and that we need back.
everything below that is infrastructure updates, licensing, stuff that we would have to pay regardless of what type of devices we have. If we kept the laptops that we currently have or the towers, that kind of thing. There are updates that have to happen, obviously, with the wireless and some other infrastructure updates, firewall, filtering, because the students grades 7, 12 can take the laptops home. So we would be able to filter what they do at home. So those are all the additional expenses total. And if you look on the spreadsheet as you go further across, then those expenses reduce as we go, because there's some one-time expenses. So if you're considering a Windows unit, that's what I would have you look at in there.
When you refer to the Windows unit, you're talking about like a PC, not a
PC,
Chromebook.
Not a Chromebook.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys said no to that one, you don't even look at Chromebooks, so we didn't. We tried throughout the meetings, but we kept with your direction. Now the other one, this was an interesting and fun one to do because they really want to help us get to be one-to-one. We're one of the schools in the state of Iowa. There's very few that are not one-to-one, and we're one. So he was very, very helpful in investigating a lot of things. And we are actually getting a pretty good unit.
It's a
for
good unit,
very
it's a
good
lot,
price.
the prices, they came way down in price
Yeah.
after negotiating
So
with them.
if you look at this one that says the MAC on that, and the sheet under here that look like this, basic leasing. We don't have to purchase from a different company and lease through a different company. It's all in one place. The total cost of the devices for 4 year, and they last actually beyond that. I talked to a lot of different school districts in the state of Iowa. Did a lot of research between this to make sure that we were making the right recommendation and decision. And they last, a good 5-6 years or beyond, depending on what their use is. At the end of the lease, they have the buyback, and they are estimating at the low end for the 8 gig, which is the size of the drive on that, the memory, is $245. So at the end of 4 years, there's a possibility of us selling it to the company that they always go to, and the company is very good, and I talked to a lot of school districts that use this. We would get $160,475 back, which basically, when we renew a lease, would pay for that first year again. So you're kind of like getting 1 year free on that.
Does this agreement have the $1 buyback also?
That's what this is.
Okay.
So that allows us to resell it if we want to. We don't have to resell all of them. We can rotate them down to the elementary if we want to, or we can keep them. You know, at that end of the lease, we can do with them what we want on that. In addition to this, if you look on the spreadsheet, what's included in the lease also is our the Apple TVs. And the reason we added those in with this is because we have the community boards, and for them to be able to communicate with the device, the new device that the teacher would have, it is needed. So that's all included in there. And that's another story. We're going to have to start thinking about the community boards in the future, possibly next year on that. It also includes our licensing and setup and our management system on that. So there's no additional cost to that. In addition, we had some really good discussions. You know how there is this feeling or thinking that Macs don't get viruses? Well, depending on who you talk to, they don't, and depending on who you talk to, they do. So, we're not gambling people. So we were looking at Avast, which is free. And a lot of other school districts, Van Meter and a few others, Ames, use that. So we will probably be putting that on the Macs, if that is the decision that you make. So there, that charge that's in that sheet will probably not be there.
Avast has restructured some of their pricing and for education all the way to there's some granting where you can get it free. So there's a placeholder there just in case, but I'm hoping we can get it for no cost.
And if you notice on both of the spreadsheets, we are replacing the towers in the CAD lab. They are on year 4. We have to have Windows units for them, for the software that they use and the components and equipment down there. They won't work on a Mac, so they will have their own unit. In the business lab, we will continue to have the thin clients because she's teaching some college courses that are specific to Microsoft Office and Windows. So we'll keep those, but the students will still have Mac laptops if that's what you choose to do. Yeah. Pardon me? We have that option to dual boot, but we were looking at that because we had the business lab, the business teacher, Mrs. Naga, teaching that college course. Now we don't necessarily have to do that because we're keeping the thins in her.
One of the options with the Macs for some flexibility, not even just immediately, but down the road, is what's called a dual boot, where you can actually boot a Mac OS device into Windows as well. Especially if you all of a sudden you have a one-off class or a one-off, hey, we gotta have this one program, it gives you some flexibility there.
And that's an either or. I mean, we can do it whenever there's no additional cost to
We got
that.
several districts that do that, especially in a one-off situation. Hey, I got this one PSEO class and 5 kids need this. No, instead of having to build a whole lab for them, you can just dual boot their machines.
And what about your tech support and help if you need it? Is that good through both places equally, or?
Oh, yes.
Or either one?
Yeah, and so make sure, I guess everybody knows, yeah, so I'm Brian Blige, I'm CEO of NGT.
I'm just
so,
assuming you guys.
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, I'm around, or one of my guys is, so. But yeah, we actually support both devices. We've got a dozen schools we work with, and it doesn't matter. So.
One of the things that we talked about, you know, because the people are in their corners with their comfort level. And one of the things that Brian and Trish kept coming back to is it's about pedagogy, it's not about the machine. And regardless of which way you decide to go on this, we'll have the PD, they'll have the PD in place to learn either system.
Good teaching is good teaching.
Good teaching is good teaching.
Now, that being said, I'm throwing out my personal opinion on this, just to let y'all know, because you know me, I'm going to give you my opinion. Looking at the devices and having experience with both now, I can say that it is my opinion that the device itself, the Mac, the Apple device, is hardier and sturdier than a lot of the Windows devices in the price range that we're looking at. Obviously, you can get a sturdier device than Windows, which is what you're going to pay a lot more. So, just throwing that out on that. So we're looking at less. We're still going to have issues. We're going to have.
And kind of down that vein, one of the recommendations that I made in our experience has been about a 5% overage is what you do, so that it covers breakage and those things. And it's not that you're gonna break and throw away 5%, it's that you need that spare rotation so that, okay, yeah, here you go, use this for the next week, we'll get your screen replaced for the gravity problem.
Right now, we don't have that. The other thing that I kind of want to talk about a little bit is sustainability. You guys have heard me say this before, and in my experience, we have not had the opportunity to continue to sustain any technology initiative we have. So once we start this, we really have to make sure that this is a continuing thing on that. And we have to make sure that we plan a 4-year plan, and when it gets to year 3, continue on again and make sure that we can still provide our kids with this. So this is a long-term commitment.
That spreadsheet in front of you, it does give you a nice, this is the total cost of ownership of this system. I mean, obviously there's give and takes and bits and pieces, but it's not like there's a $200,000 surprise in year 2 out of this. This gives you what the sustainability of this looks like.
But the big outlay is year 1.
Yeah.
Yes, the big outlay is
Yeah.
and then
For the buybacks, you're still getting some money. I'm very intrigued by, if you're not understanding right now, I'm going to go Apple for that reason. But I'm really intrigued by the fact that they continue to hold their value. And that next subsequent lease at the end is either paid for or almost paid for, depending on what you want to do with devices.
So to clarify the pricing, you were talking about the Avast. Is that blue highlighted line on the map?
Yeah,
So-
it's this kind of bluish green.
So if we don't have to pay that
You probably would not.
$7,200.
I want to say, put it in, keep it in there mentally as a placeholder, but the plan would be, no, you probably would not need to do that.
Right. So right now, year 1, the difference between the Mac and the Windows is not quite $10,000. And if you add another $7,000 onto the reduced price of the Mac, you're looking at a difference of $17,000 in year 1
Sounds about right.
to go with the Macs. Okay.
So like the Apple gave a heck of a deal on the units. So and just so you guys are aware, as far as the units that are quoted there would be a 13-inch MacBook Air for the staff and a 11.6 MacBook Air for students. So, and that's most districts I see doing. That's the size that they go with. So that's larger. But that I mean, with a few exceptions, but for the most part, that's the size. The nice part about the 11.6 is it's a little bit more comfortable in a bag. It's not a huge bulky unit. Yeah, it's a little bit.
And speaking of bags, we will have to be doing something about that, which is not really included in this at all, because we weren't sure of the device.
I do have a quick question on the PC. It says the quantity is 655, and on the Mac, I'm getting 555. Is there a difference why there's 100 units?
555 plus another 100 for the
teachers are different.
There's 2 different sizes.
Yeah, there's 530 of the 11-inch and 25 of the...
They're by packages. They're packed
They're
in
5
5.
packs. 5 packs. So there's 25
Okay,
packs of 5.
thank you.
Yeah, that
I
threw me
just
off.
wanted to make sure.
It threw me off the first time I did that too.
Yep, thank you.
Trish, I think, actually caught that earlier this week, and they're like, wait, this one's $650 and this one's $500.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to say something. I went to most of these meetings, and Sharon did too. I feel like the Mac is our best option hands down. And this is not the top of the line Mac. It's not the bottom of the line. And durability-wise, I have had, well, my last Mac I had for 9 years. And I just really think they're the way to go. They provide so many options. Yeah. questions for me?
Apparently, the students believe that this is a done deal, and they're excited for the max.
I hope that it is.
They're really, it's good.
What grades will be using these computers?
They'll be used 5 through 12. And then the laptops that we currently have here will get refurbished and go down to the elementary to 4th grade. So each classroom will have their own set in there. Plus the thin clients that are over here in the lab will be distributed at the lower elementary so they have units in their rooms.
And again, trying to avoid supplies costs, we've included that in the spreadsheet, so getting those even down to the elementary is all included in there.
And it looks like the MAC goes down significantly more in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year than the other ones.
Yeah.
And the funding comes from,
Yeah, LOSS or Pebble, it's the same requirements on each one. And then basically we have a bond going off. So this will just be part of what we're going to be saving in the June, right?
Correct. June is the last.
The payments for the bond are still more than the
Still more than what either one of them would be.
so sustainability, we're okay to use them.
So it's safe to let the public know that we're not increasing their taxes to do this initiative.
Correct.
You was waiting for you.
Make sure, no, make sure that it is in the Belmont Independent next week. I would like to make a motion to approve the MaxBook 8 GB and SSD for our 1-to-1 program. And I'll second that. And they will be here like this summer or?
Tuesday. So, yeah, that's a great statement, and I'll speak, and you correct me if I'm wrong. But the intention would be, we'll do all the infrastructure work this summer. They'll come in this summer, they'll be getting set up. The staff will receive them as soon as we can. I'm hoping early PD in August, that they start receiving some training on it, and then it's a matter of working with staff to figure out when they want to roll them out to students. So, because that's really again, it's about teaching, not about.
Correct. After the decision is made as to what device that we have to do, we also have to, as a committee, get together because we have a lot more work to do. We have to do a lot of planning for professional development, for the sustainability pieces.
There'll be some policies and
for
things brought to you.
insurance rollout, night or day, with parents and students. We also have board policy and a 1-to-1 handbook that we've been working on that we've actually finished, but we didn't know for sure which device, so we'll just edit whatever the choice is on that.
We also have a public relations committee, and they're ready to go, but we didn't want to put out a letter that said, what do you think about this, when we weren't sure what we were going to do. I didn't want to ask an opinion unless I needed an opinion, so that's all ready to go too, the public piece of that.
So will this be insurance increase through our school, or is this just?
No,
Yeah.
Kevin and I met with, or Kevin met with the insurance.
So we'll have policy through EMC. This is $150 on the device. It's not very minimal, so it's less.
And there's no additional expense to
Oh, okay.
families for this. This is our, so that is not a concern for families.
I can just tell you from experience, my team works with a lot of schools, and we've done several 1-to-1 rollouts, and especially in a device where they're excited about the device and they know it's a device they're going to have to hang on to for a few years, they do a pretty good job taking care of it for the most part. Yes, you have some gravity occasionally comes into play, but for the most part, it's actually amazing how well they do.
Yeah, my last school was 1-to-1, and they kept guaranteeing that my kids, you're going to have a screen broken in the first 2 weeks. And we went over 2 years without a screen breaking. Because you say, this is your computer, and it's going to follow you, and they take much better care of them. Because they know they're getting that. If they trash it, that's what they're getting back the next year. So that works out real well.
And I can say that this is a very exciting moment for me personally, because it's something, as Jackie knows, since I've been in this position, that have been shooting for, and to see it actually come to fruition is, you know, very meaningful to me.
Thank you for all of your work.
Thank you.
I think we need to vote though.
Have we official vote? Yeah. we have to-
I know, but I know it's gonna happen, so.
Okay, Laura made a motion, and Sharon seconded that. Laura, I'd ask you to repeat your motion for us, please.
I move that we approve the MacBook 8GB and SSD for our one-to-one.
Okay, thank you. If there's no more discussion, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. A request for improvement bids. We have two at the bus barn. John, you want to come forward?
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have questions. We have a bus barn addition with a bid of $9,375 from C&R Construction. And we have a bus barn painting for $5,783.40 from Scott Hickman. Did you check, do you need a building permit for the addition?
Yes, I talked to Mark Dirks, it's 4 cents a square foot or a minimum of $20. So it'll be $20 because it's 200 square foot.
This addition, is that the first two stalls?
No, it's just the one wash stall, 10 foot to the back. Insulated line, a window. I can't remember else. Any electrical that needs to be moved, that was all in there. I can't remember all the specs, but.
The previous meeting.
Yeah.
Will the electrical be on top of that, or is that included?
That's included. I
Okay.
put that to be included if there is any electrical that needed. I don't
Okay.
think there is in that wall, but just in case. I put that in there,
And the painting, you told me
so.
there's
It's just
the wall.
Just the sidewalls, not the roof. Paint, I talked to a few people, paint usually doesn't last on the roof with all the rain and whatnot. It just doesn't hold up like cement wall.
And we bid these out. John, we bid this.
Yeah, it was in the
That's all
paper.
it is.
Yeah.
Independent.
Yeah, I saw it.
Thank you, John. We also have a bid for the weight room roof from K&R Construction at $5,183. Corey, do you have any information on that for us?
What kind of information would you like?
Shingle quality.
That was,
what weight
the shingles would still stay on, they just go over top of the shingles.
They're going over the top, they're not removing the old?
Correct. There's no need to remove the shingles.
There's just one layer on there now?
Correct.
Is that a flat roof, Corey?
What?
Is that a flat roof?
No,
And why don't we remove them?
there's no need to. I mean, if you're putting metal over top of it, it ain't gonna hurt, it just costs extra just to remove them, and there's no need.
So the roof is gonna be metal?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said shingles. I thought so too.
That's not gonna mold where it leaked, is it?
Huh?
It's not gonna mold where it leaked.
No.
Okay.
Okay, is everybody okay?
Well, all three of them,
That's what I'm asking. You want to just do all three together?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept these three bids?
And does KR excuse me, I just have one question. Does KR Construction know the timeline? Please. You have to stress it to him when you want it done.
I will make sure. I will make sure.
All right. I've worked with him before.
I move that we accept the bus barn addition bid from K&R Construction for $9,375. The bus barn bid for painting from Scott Hickman for $5,783.40. And the weight room roof bid from K&R Construction for $5,183.
And I'll second that. Will this be done by next fall?
I'll make sure it's done by next fall.
Thank you. This fall, the fall of 2017.
This fall.
I just want to stress that it will be done.
You have little faith.
Right. I've worked with him a lot.
Experience.
Okay, there's a motion to accept the bids for bus barn addition, painting, and the roof on the weight room. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. John, do you want to talk to us about the sale of buses?
Mr. Popular back there.
Yeah. I'll get one great one. The two vans that we replaced, I have those that I'd like to put up for bids in the paper. And we also have one, well, actually, we could probably sell two. We have one short bus that I would like, that we've had for a year. I just kept it as a spare, thinking maybe if we need it. I used it once this year, and that was to take soccer kids because all the other vans were gone. So I figured we can, it still has some value. It's 2006. I'm guessing it's probably worth $9,000-10,000. But I'd like to talk to the IPTA, Iowa Pupil Transportation Association. They have every transportation director in Iowa's email. They'll send it out. We have it available for X amount of dollars. And that'd be our best bet, probably, to get rid of it. And the most money out of it.
And the bands, did you say? Are you gonna replace those or what?
We already did.
We did those, that's right.
Yeah,
These are just old
yeah.
ones, that's right.
Those we can just put.
So you have a short bus and then a big, full size?
Well, we do have a full size. We do have a couple spares. I mean, we could probably get rid of one of them.
I know, the short bus.
Yeah. So basically, we have one big bus, the short bus, and two vans. That we could put one big bus in the paper and the vans, and then I'd like to sell the other one to another school district.
Go for it. Sounds good.
All right.
Motion. I'll make the motion. I'm going to sell it.
I'll second it.
There's been a motion to approve the sale of buses. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, we have a discussion on athletics and wrestling.
I'm up, huh? All right. Can I sit or you want to stand?
Whatever you want to do.
I'll sit. Jordan Bloffin's here with me. You guys don't know him. I don't know if I've ever met Laura per se, but I'm Stan Davidson. Thanks to Sarah and Greg and the board for allowing me to talk today a little about not just the sport of wrestling, but sharing in general. First of all, Jordan and I sit here as members of the community, graduates of Ireland. Myself, I have 3 kids in the school district, one of which is entering the wrestling program potentially. So without question, we are pro-Belmont playing wrestling. And for anyone to question that is just absurd. We're not here as an enemy. We're not here to have our names talked about on social media. We're here to have an open discussion about sharing wrestling and sharing programs in general. I attended the month or two. How long ago was it? A month or 2?
It was March.
Yeah, a couple months ago I attended a meeting that Greg presented the numbers of the student athletes that participate in all sports. And I think everybody would agree that some of them are dissimilar. I mean, that would be a fair assessment. Wrestling dates back to many, many years after discussions with both superintendents, not Sarah, Mr. Mass, Dr. Bob, Greg, and Principal Steve Howden. There's been some ongoing talks about this many, many years, long before I was involved, long before obviously Greg was involved or any of us. And in sharing in general, not just sharing wrestling. Dr. Bob's given me authority, not to talk for him, but definitely the support and what he's told me. A little history on sharing just in general. I can't speak for every sport, but I'll speak for wrestling. About 90% of programs in the United States that have 10 kids or less share programs. About 50 to 70% of our school size share programs throughout the state of Iowa and Minnesota, and I've looked at one point in the year. So this isn't something I invented. This isn't something new. This isn't something that I'm trying to reinvent the wheel. It just is, and it's about the kids. And it's about athletes. And I can't speak for the other programs because I just am not. I've never been involved with them. I'm a wrestler, I grew up wrestling. Obviously, Jordan and I are both state champions here for this high school. We are Belmont County Wrestling, right? We did this here, and we're very supportive of it. We wouldn't be coming to have this conversation if we weren't. So, as far as the other programs go, I'm very proponent, and I think Jordan is too, of sharing in general. Sharing, I don't care what the program is, not just athletics. If we have low numbers, I think that it's your job as the board, I think it's our job as administration to pursue those avenues if needed. I can't speak anything other than the success of our hospital systems. I think it's fairly clear that Belmont and Clarion, Iowa have done something quite exceptional from a hospital standpoint. I don't know if everybody's been into both facilities, but I'm assuming so. We went from a combination of maybe a $20 million hospital in Clarion and a $5 million hospital in Belmont to a $140 million entity in less than 10 years, less than 8 years, I think it is, or something like that. That wasn't thought of overnight. There was battles years and years before I was involved with, before the current boards were in it. That was something that people felt like if you want successes, both communities can have successes, but sharing costs and sharing control and eliminating the fighting and the bickering and the social media gossip and just sitting and having real conversations about how to make things better for people in Wright County. And it worked, and it worked very well. I know wrestling is whatever, it's just other sports. I'm going to sleep at night regardless of decisions made in regards to wrestling. I am. It's not the hospital system. I get that. Our current discussions were very positive. When I met with Greg and when I met with Mr. Mask before, and Sarah and I spoke about it one time. Clarion is extremely, I think, generous to even telling myself or Jordan or our program that they want to have a conversation. We've had a lot of success in the last 10 years. They don't have a reason to say, oh yeah, go ahead, talk to them. I've not had one person, not a board member, not a parent, not a child, not a competitor, nobody, not one, can Clarion give any opposition to the talk or the discussion of wanting to do it from Clarion. Maybe there has been, but I've never been approached about it. So there isn't an opposition. The only deal breaker in the entire situation, and Dr. Bob had told him this, was the North Central Conference. That would be the only thing. And there's some reasons behind that. One, the competition, they have full lineups. A lot of the top of the Iowa Conference teams suffer with forfeit after forfeit after forfeit. We're very open to competing in their conference tournament, and if the dual meet situation would work, we would support it. We had discussions with Alan Bestie. He actually visited Clarion, visited our club. He wondered why Belmont hasn't done this a long time ago. He's director of the Iowa High School Athletic Association. And the other thing is, I haven't came to the board before. We had previous meetings with this with previous administrators, and the previous superintendent wasn't in favor of it, and so it was left at, and that's fine, right? But I'm not coming here just me. I'm coming here with the data and discussions with Greg and Abe and looking at 10 wrestlers filling 14 weights. The average forfeit last year for the wrestling team at Belmont Columbia was almost 8. They went to one dual meet tournament and had 9 forfeits out of 14 every dual meet. They had 5 kids wrestling. At the most, they had 8 kids in the line. It is a team sport, no matter how many people want to disagree with it, it is a team sport. You keep team scores, you have team state tournaments, it's a team sport. Now, is there an individual component to it? Of course there is. Of course there is. I can tell you with my experience personally as a wrestler in high school, college, wrestling as a coach, the children and the kids like the team sport part of it. They really do. They're very interested in it. They don't want to lose all the time. They enjoy that. It doesn't put so much pressure on them as it does individually sometimes. So I'd ask the board and I'd ask everybody in attendance, if we had a basketball team that had 4 kids, would we share a program? Yes. If we had a football team that had 8 kids, 9 kids, would we share it? Yes. So why don't we even talk about it? Why is it just, and I'll talk a little more about this, why is it just shut off and it's, oh, Dan Gabrielson just wants to do it for his son, his 6th grade son, or himself. Guys, that's ridiculous. You don't think I want your kids to be successful? It's absurd, right? I want the kids in Wright County to be successful. I don't do anything else other than medicine and do involved with wrestling. That's been my life, and so that's a passion of mine. I wish I could run track fast, and I wish I knew more about volleyball. I hope to coach junior high volleyball here. I wish I knew more about other activities. I wish we had more parents involved, more career people that aren't in the school trying to help out in all different aspects. I think every time I look in the paper, you're looking for coaches, junior high coaches, assistant coaches, head coaches. So if I don't present this, or Jordan and I don't come here, who would come here? If Jordan and I aren't people that are pro-Belmont and pro-wrestling, who is? Who is, guys? I mean, previous state champions, love the town, live here, have kids go to the school system. Are we not? Are we not the people to at least have an opinion on it without being bashed, without being held to a standard that says, no, it's about Dan? No, it's not about me. I've won in wrestling. I competed already. I'm through those years. I'm completely over competing. I would be just as happy being a parent and watching a shared program. I would be a junior high coach. I don't need to be a coach. I want us to share programs that are not allowing children in our communities to succeed. And I don't care what the program is. There's 3 types of people that are opposed to this, and I think we all kind of know it. Possibly because the child itself isn't going to wrestle varsity, right? I mean, we all have that. We all have our selfish motives for our own children. That potentially can happen. Knowing what Bellman has, watching them wrestle over the years, there's 4 or 5 kids that are truly varsity wrestlers. They're going to be in our lineup. The Clarion kids are going to sit in those weights, right? I mean, that's the same thing either school would have. No matter if Bellman's sharing with Clarion, or Lake Mills and Northwood who shared for years, or whoever they're sharing, North Iowa and Forest City are sharing right now. It doesn't matter. I mean, at some point, some kid is going to sit. But sometimes that's a better thing. Greg and I have talked about it in depth with putting people in a lineup that is not ready for varsity competition and then discouraging them further and further and further and further. And then the kids that are better, are they really getting better and achieving success? Are we having kids that go beyond making the state tournament to the heights of state championships and some of the things that some of our better good kids probably could have? Loyalty to BK, right? That's the second person that's opposed to any kind of mergers. Just you're loyal to Belmont and your school district and the school. And I understand that. I'm from here. And I know it's tough when you're from a small town and you don't leave the small town to want that small town to succeed. I get it. I do. I get why people are here and opposed to it. I'm not uneducated on the idea. But at some point, don't we go beyond that? We did it with the hospital system. Don't we look beyond that a little bit to see greater than our selfish motives or our little town? And don't we say, okay, I want more for our kids? I don't care if it's adding a French teacher in and sharing it with 3 county schools. I think all of us want that. And coaching, right? I mean, if you're the coach, you probably still want to be the coach, and so you're going to put it in the ears of the kids and everybody else that, oh, it's a bad thing to go against it. Well, we're wanting to share, which means share coaching. I don't care if he wants to be the coach or the head coach or the co-head coach. Jordan doesn't care. We don't care. Kurt's going to probably step down as the head coach of Clarion. We want more coaches. We like more coaches. We need more coaches to help us. And why are we doing this? It's for the kids, guys. I mean, it's the opportunities for the kids to succeed. I think everyone can agree on this here. And this has nothing to do with sharing programs or sharing wrestling. Bellman has had a bad name from an administrative standpoint for some time. This board has probably very little to do with that. We've lost more administrators now. Social media jumps on these things, whether it's me coming to talk tonight. Social media is jumping on things with our administration. Isn't it time to just say, okay, we're going to find some really good people. We're going to go ahead and we're going to advance from that standpoint. We're going to look at all of our options to make our programs better as a whole. We're not going to limit something just because someone said, I don't want to do this. Right? And then people start to think different of this place and this program that many of you graduated, and I graduated, and Jordan graduated, and you taught here, right? In closing, I'd just like to ask the board to make some sort of a motion and let this administration do their job and see if they come up with some sharing opportunities for wrestling and any other activities that they see fit. I'm not asking you to solve the world's problems, and I'm certainly not asking you guys to make a decision today. But for Greg or the new administrators that we get in, for them to be allowed to look into, okay, we're struggling, put a plan together to try to share. Do we share anything right now? We share soccer with Cal, right? I don't think anybody's opposed to that. I feel like not doing that is just a disservice. And if it's about me or people think it's about me, I'll be the parent. I'd rather just not coach. I did last year. If it's something that they think, because if I back away and say I don't want to be involved with anything, then people are going to say, well, why doesn't he want to be involved? And now he doesn't want to give anything, right? You guys see that? So what am I supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? What are Jordan and I sitting over here? Is Bowman putting me alone so helping Clarence wrestling program have success? Or are you just supposed to say, let him keep it. It's an easy win for us. We'll come over here and do 70 to 10 at the time. I don't like that. You think I like that? You think I enjoy that? You think any of us enjoy that? No, absolutely not. And it's hurting. It's painful to hear people even think for a minute that we don't have the support of this community and certainly the wrestling team. And who again is supposed to come up here and present this to you? I mean, is it somebody different than two of the 5 state champions in the history of Belmont? I mean, is there somebody different that's supposed to be pro Belmont wrestling and try to take it to greater heights? And all of our programs. So I would hope at some point somebody could make a motion to consider sharing not just wrestling, but like I said, other programs that this administrator and any other administrator seem fit. And I think that's him doing his job. I thank everybody for listening and appreciate it.
So does Clarion have a full wrestling team usually here?
What's that?
Clarion
Speak
usually
into
have a
your
full
mic.
squad?
We end the year anywhere from maybe 20 to 24 kids, but even at that level, I mean, you would think a bigger school district than that that's won a couple state championships would attract more kids. It's very difficult with wrestling when you have 14 different weights. Wrestling's a hard sport. I mean, it's not easy. And so to get kids out for a sport that maybe the team's not having success with, if you're not an elite kid or a kid that's a pretty good wrestler, it's really tough. So even if we have 22, 23 kids, how many of those kids should be on varsity? And then you got to divide them out all weight-wise. So we don't. I mean, there's many years that there's still kids in the lineup that probably should be on JV. I mean, in reality.
Dan, we had a question a couple months ago about the junior high program as far as should we split the season and have them be able to be in both basketball and wrestling, or just have them choose and go full season? What does Clarion do?
You have to choose. They don't.
They choose. Okay.
It's either wrestling or basketball. I mean, I grew up in a system where I played basketball in junior high. I think those times are gone. I mean, it hurt my fellow friends that were going to be basketball players if I'm playing basketball. Does that make sense?
It does.
I mean, I'm not going to play basketball in high school, so it actually hurt them.
Yeah, I'm just curious what Clarion is.
Yeah, they don't do a sports season. And our junior high numbers are 3 next year, maybe? 3 or 4? I mean, that's what it said. I mean, I know Graydon and Caden are the only 6th graders that I know that wrestle, unless somebody else comes out that wants to make their will be. There are always those fun kids that triple in. So.
We have a lot more 8th graders than 7th graders.
Any 11th, 8th grade, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Any other questions? I just see the Belmont program. I'm not opposed to the coaches here coaching with us. I've never said that. I don't know who's ever said that, because I never have.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Not for you, I won't put you on the spot, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say that you left for Clarion?
Left for Clarion?
Yes, instead of taking a job here?
Simple answer is Kurt Morgan reached out to me. If somebody would have reached out to me coming back, prior to coming back, I would have probably taken a job here instead of Clarion. Simple answer.
And that's interesting, because that's my history. 10 years ago, I was doing just medicine, living in Webster City, Iowa, had no thoughts of helping coach wrestling or do anything with wrestling, said I always would be interested, got a call, said, hey, I want you to come help us. That was it. It didn't have anything to do with hiring or, I mean, I would have came and helped the Belmont. Yeah. That was it.
So your idea is sharing, you'll send some of the Clarion kids to Belmont so we can fill out our team.
I love that. That's great. It's different classes, yeah.
Are we allowed to ask questions?
No.
It's too bad.
Well, I think it would be nice to be able to have the opportunity to visit with Clarion and see what the plans are, see what they offer as far as meets, as far as transportation, you know, all those things that need to be worked out. You can't even look at it, I don't think, unless people know what you're looking at. You know, I mean, are they gonna have some meets here? Are they gonna have practices here? Are they gonna, you know, those types of things. I just,
Right. I guess, and this is what I talked to Dan when he asked about it, and I'll be real honest where this came from, because you know, you get accused of trying to hide something when I was specifically trying to not hide something. But originally I had told Dan, you need to do this in open forum. If they do it in open forum, it looks secretive because you know what, you guys wouldn't have been here and heard it. By putting it on the agenda, everybody knew it was on the agenda and allowed people to hear what was said. But my direction to Dan was, this is not the time to do it with an interim. You can direct me to start, because you've got community meetings, you've got kid meetings. There is a long process and a lot of people that need to be included in that. It's my recommendation that you start that with the new person. So one way or the other, it's settled, it's not just dropped.
well, and I think
That makes sense.
You know, it goes back a long ways. We've always had that rivalry with Clarion years ago. Not maybe so much now, but you know, when I work at the hospital, and it took a long time to get people on board. You know, it's giving up. They feel like they're giving up a little of their community, and that they're going to lose something. And in the end, we gain so much at the hospital. It's unbelievable. And you know, if they decide to do this for a year, if the board decides in a year they don't like it, they can give it up, or if they don't decide, whatever. But I think it would be nice to look at. And maybe there's some other sports that we need to also look at. I mean, if we don't have JV baseball, I don't know, you know?
From the board standpoint, do they, I mean, these are non-binding one-year contracts. Is everybody very opposed, just in general, in sharing? I mean, he's telling you right now you have a JV team that you don't have anymore, right?
Right.
Or are we, from a golf, I mean, the golf numbers are this small. The cross-country was extremely low. Like, why are we not visiting that?
I agree. I think we should look at those things. But that's my opinion. No, I don't know what everybody else thinks.
There's a lot of different coaches that have come and gone. There's different kids. There's kids that didn't do things because of certain coaches. Maybe we've had different principal, athletic director, the vibe, everything that's going on here. I believe we give Belmont plenty of chance to maybe grow a little bit. All the money that we're putting, we just, let's see, weight room, the roof, $5,183, and we're just gonna go ahead and, you know, what are we gonna turn it into? Well, everybody uses the weight room. The wrestling room, what about all the money that's been spent on that? I mean,
we would need the wrestling space, so I don't know what that means. We would use the wrestling.
Our facility would be used.
Absolutely. That'd be silly not to.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You're a volunteer over at Clarion, right? Are you a paid coach?
I'm not a paid coach, I'm not under any contract.
What's preventing you from coming over to Belmont and volunteering?
What's preventing? I've never been asked in my life.
Okay. Then, Mr.
Number
Fisher, I
one-
think that needs to change.
Number one, I've never been asked. Number two, I helped develop the program over there for 10 years. And so you have a lot of invested time into it and energy. So, you know, that's part of it too.
I did try to hire Jordan.
So what I'm asking is that you are saying that you're passionate about watching and having Belmont Columbia be successful. You've invested 10 years in helping Clarion become successful. Would you be willing to invest the next 10 years in helping Belmont Columbia be successful?
And I'll answer this question to you. Would you be willing to throw away 10 years of commitment to people? Would you be willing to throw that away?
So what you're telling me is
I'm just
that
asking you. I'm not saying I would or wouldn't. I'm just saying, would you be willing to do it?
if I was as passionate as you said you are about the Belmont Columbia program, I would.
What if I told you that the resources and here, it's not possible with the commitment level? You don't have the numbers to support a wrestling program like that. That's what we're talking about.
Did
Right?
Clarion
Don't you think your
have a
current
full?
wrestling
Did
coaches
Clarion have a full program when you
Yes,
started?
they had full numbers. Yeah.
What was their winning record when you started?
Not good, but they did. But they had.
And how many
numbers.
of those 14 wrestlers do you think were, that state qualifying quality caliber? How many of those 14 wrestlers should probably have been on JV?
Half.
Okay, so 7.
We don't have the numbers to support. Are you saying your current coaches aren't doing a good enough job and the job's opening?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
I'm saying I think they've tried hard to bring the numbers here, and the numbers just don't support without sharing. So it would be mute for me to help too at that level. I'm trying to help.
How many of the
develop
Belmont Columbia wrestlers attend the Valley Wrestling program?
Well, 90% of the people that attend that club aren't from Clarendon.
Right.
So I don't know the exact number.
So of the Belmont Columbia wrestlers, how many attend Carl's practices?
I have no idea. Of the 10 that attend, I know Remington and Keaton do, and I know
Tucker's been there.
I haven't been there with him, but her son has. I don't know a lot of the other ones that do. This isn't about a wrestling club. Wrestling club has zero to do with wrestling.
Actually, I think that the wrestling club has a lot to do with developing the younger kids so that they want to wrestle in junior high and high school.
That's per se, that's
But we've only
state.
got
if we
3
could-
kids in junior high to be going out for wrestling.
I understand that, but if we were to look at our youth program, which we've talked about this in December, we talked about wanting to encourage our youth programs to have more success. We talked about working with the booster clubs and the BCBC to make sure that our head coaches have a say in what goes on in those youth programs. And I firmly feel, and I am, I had run-ins with the Belmont Columbia Wrestling Booster Club. And that's probably one of the reasons why my son didn't wrestle when he was in high school. And I was accused of opening rolling my son to go wrestle for Dan Gabrielson. And so I support your program, and I support you as a coach. But I also know that as a parent in a community, that when we start looking at sending our children to another school to wrestle, that has huge impacts. You yourself said that people have to get on board. So I would like to see us try to work on building our youth programs so that we have more participation. We went up to Class 2A in track, which tells me that we have enough students to fill a full varsity track program and a full varsity baseball program, but we don't have the participation. We have the bodies, we don't have the desire. So somewhere along the line, as a school, we have to motivate those students to come out. And if we are going to send a program to another community, I don't think we are going to see that participation increase. You've told us at several board meetings that your goal is to get participation in the musics and the arts and in the sports. And if we, at this moment, when we're just starting to work towards getting more participation, and we say, okay, our numbers are low in wrestling, we're gonna go ahead and share. Our numbers are low in track, we're gonna go ahead and share. Our numbers are low in cross country, we're gonna share. Our numbers are in baseball, we're gonna share. Kids are not going to want to participate.
We
You're
did
gonna
share
take,
in
We
cross
have
country
shared.
for Garner, with
Yes.
Garner Hayfield. And then our numbers did come up, and then we were able to get our own team.
absolutely, that's
In fact,
That's what
it was
the
the
idea
opposite. It was, we had enough, Garner did not, and we shared with them, and then that allowed them to have success so that they could have their own program. And then it went away, and we have our own programs. This isn't, he's
Without
not
a
saying
doubt.
we have to do this
There's a one-year
forever.
contract, that is exactly what will happen.
Exactly.
Because what kids want is to win, guys.
Exactly.
I
They
don't care
want to
what
be part
anybody
of
says.
something successful.
I went to the wrestling meet, and I felt bad
It was depressing.
for the team
It was
sport.
depressing.
You know, the kids individually, they wrestled well. But as a team, nobody wants to be a loser every single meet.
Right. What are we afraid of? Why can't we explore our options?
I agree.
What are we afraid of?
It's territory.
Yeah.
It is
I
a territory.
understand.
I disagree that it's not territory. I disagree that it's not egos, not yours, Dan, not yours whatsoever. I think that our communities need to look at, let's share practices. Cam doesn't have anybody to wrestle against. He would love to wrestle every day against your heavyweight, and it would make both of them better.
But what,
Unfortunately, that's illegal.
Yeah, it is.
And I can talk to you about the rules, because I know them pretty well.
We can't practice.
Unfortunately, we can't. I wish that would happen too.
And there are many, many districts that share, many districts. And it doesn't necessarily make people drop out.
I guess
Sometimes
what's-
it increases your
Yeah,
numbers.
I move
There's no
that we
fear.
empower the
We
administrators
can't make
to
a motion,
explore
this
our
is discussion.
options.
We can't make a motion, it's a discussion.
Absolutely. Can do this meeting.
Okay, I move we table this to the next meeting where we make a motion on it.
So we're done discussing?
If you talk like you want.
Because it's just haranguing people.
I appreciate everybody's candor more than anything, talking publicly versus on some social media site or whatever. It's not good for us, so thank you.
Can I ask the Joni Boyd to talk? Can I ask her a question?
No.
No,
No.
They have the chance to
They all
talk
have a chance.
in the
Okay,
in the
thank you.
beginning.
they were supposed to fill one of
That's fine.
And Dan, I don't believe that it's fear. I think a lot of it has to do with pride and loyalty like you addressed. And I also agree that it's, when you look at merging certain things, you have to be able to have community support and community on board. And I don't know that we have that community support and community on board. So to get there, I think that we need to figure out a way to work together, either to volunteer or to encourage Carl to come over to the youth program. I know Carl has wanted to come over. I know that the Booster Club hasn't allowed that. I think if we start looking at those youth programs, I really feel that the participation will increase and the community will have support. Because right now, we don't have the community support. You can see by the number of people in this room. And I don't want to do anything that's not going to be supportive of the community, because it's going to be that much harder. I don't want to ram stuff down people's throats. I agree we have to look at doing something for our programs. I just don't know that sharing right now, in my opinion, everybody can have their opinion.
Yeah, and that's
So-
what I appreciate. Everybody has an opinion without bringing somebody else down. Just mean. I mean, literally just mean. I've been getting texts all day. People talking about me on social media. I haven't even had a discussion yet. Like, what are they talking about? I just think that Jordan and I have a pretty good perspective on Belmont County Wrestling. Would you guys not agree with that?
I would agree.
And so, we're not.
You were both fun to watch.
Yeah, we're not saying that we're the answer 100%. We're just trying to help.
And I think
Can you
that there's
appreciate
other,
that?
I can appreciate that. I appreciate that you're coming, but I think that there's other ways that we can use your talents in terms of being able to help build our program. And I'd like to be able to have you think of ways that you'd be willing to work within our program. And if that, you're looking questioning at me.
That isn't as easy as it sounds, right? Like, I don't have the authority. You have coaches already. You have
Right, but you
program.
can work with our AD and Yeah.
volunteer over there, why wouldn't you volunteer in his?
Like I said, I've never been asked.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We've got our AD right here. We've got our head coach back here. So let's get together and
I can
work
tell
on
you
those
this.
relationships.
I can tell you this, if I was the head coach, my recommendation would be to share wrestling. If I wasn't the coach, if I was a parent, it would, because I just see what happens with wrestling, and it's a very hard sport to complete a lineup, and for kids to get better, the better kids to get better, to increase the average kids, you need bodies.
I absolutely agree that we need bodies.
That's just how it
Okay, I think we can wrap this up.
Yeah.
I have one more question. Have we met, you and I, before? No, we have not. Did you hear that? Tony, we never met.
All right.
I don't even know what you're
Gary, I have a question.
Yeah.
Nowhere on any of these agenda items does it say action item. So what made them action items that we could vote on, that this is not? But, so what?
Everything's an action item unless it says it's something else. In this case, it is a discussion. If it had said, take action to do something or different or otherwise, it would have been different.
But none of these say we're gonna take action on
No,
it.
but they were specifically on there with the intent of an address on the vote on the specific recommendation of the superintendent. Every one of those came with the recommendation of the staff member or the superintendent. You have no recommendation from the staff member or the superintendent on this discussion.
I just think that's not very clear.
But that may be true. That's a matter of writing a different agenda.
So, better discussion.
I move that we adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor of adjourning, please say yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Dan. Thank you.
It's okay.